friends. At the time of making this video, it is the start of 2024, and I officially started training calisthenics 8 months ago. So I wanted to make this video sharing all the tips and lessons that I've learned so that if you're beginning your calisthenics journey, or even if you're at any other point in your calisthenics journey, you can avoid all of these mistakes that I made and hopefully make progress towards your goals so much faster. By the way, hi, I'm Emily, welcome to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and let's get straight into the tips. Let's start with a positive, shall we? So one thing that I did that was great was I planned my workouts. So at the beginning of every week, before I started the week of training calisthenics, I always knew what I would be training on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, whatever my split was. I already had those workouts planned in advance, and this saved me so much hell. So I'd highly recommend pre-planning your workout split and sticking to it because it helps you stay consistent and saves you so much time throughout the week. Especially if you're like me and you can't focus on 2 things at once, it lets me actually go intense during my workouts so I don't have to be like, what am I doing next? I already know what I'm doing next. It's Aussie rows, of course. Okay, let's get straight into it. So the biggest mistake that I made during the past 8 months of beginning to train in calisthenics. And this mistake set me back weeks and maybe even months of training and making progress. And it could have set me back so much longer if I hadn't been more careful. And this was the classic doing too much too soon. So at one point I developed medial epicondylitis, which a lot of people in calisthenics get, and you think of as Gelfer's elbow, so it's gonna be pain in your inner elbow right in this region. And this was basically because I was overtraining that muscle so much. I was doing handstand workouts and the planche, putting a lot of stress and strain on my elbows, and I wasn't resting. I was just not getting enough rest. And let's be honest, I'm a beginner. I couldn't handle that much in the beginning, so I was doing way too much. And obviously I'm not a physical therapist, so if you do have symptoms, I would always recommend checking that out with a medical professional who can properly diagnose you. But what really worked for me in getting rid of that pain in my elbow region was a few things. One, I rested it. But by rest, I don't mean I stopped altogether, I mean I decreased the intensity. So I was doing chin-ups with weight. But when I started to have that pain, it would not only be with pull-ups and chin-ups and even Aussie rows, any pulling movement. I continued to do chin-ups, but I made them resistance band assisted, and I did body weight assisted. I would use the TRX bar to decrease the amount of force that I had to pull with that muscle. I did use rings for one part, and that kind of helped with the chin-ups, but not a ton, honestly. The one thing that I did do that really helped get rid of that problem for me was strengthening my forearm flexors, because from my understanding, it's basically you did too much on a muscle that wasn't big enough, wasn't strong enough. So what you have to do is you actually have to train that muscle. So what I started adding in is 3 sets of 8 reps for biceps curls with a weight, so dumbbell bicep curls, and also extensors and flexors, where I also did 3 sets of 8. I would literally just add flexors, extensors, and weighted bicep curls, 3 sets each at the end of my upper body days workouts. I would do them 2 to 3 times a week, and my pain was gone within 2 to 3 weeks. That worked really well for me. But sum total, I really recommend not doing so much so soon. Let your body recover, and honestly, what I didn't do right is be mindful of the exercises that you're doing and how you set up your workouts. And it might not seem super obvious, but we shouldn't do strength so much in 1 week. Especially as a beginner, I'd really recommend that yes, add some strength exercises in, but try and really build up that muscle first before you attempt so much strength work. Our bodies can only handle so much intensity, and mine was just really not happy. That elbow pain was super uncomfortable and frustrating and set me back weeks. And after that experience, I basically forced myself to take rest days. I was like, nah, I know you feel like you can train more, Emily, but we're sticking to rest day tomorrow. So that's what worked really well for me. Just try and be mindful of your body and planning your workouts properly, where you're not going like crazy hard every single day. Okay, a different tip that I learned kind of the hard way too is that progressions are amazing. The first few weeks that I was training calisthenics, I was just not doing the progressions. It was basically like ego lifting, if you're familiar with the gym, where people like lift really heavy but their form sucks and they're not actually working their muscles properly. I was doing that, guys. I was doing that. Don't be afraid of progressions. Your girl loves a good resistance band now. And a split that I found works really well is 20% really hard stuff, like the new exciting exercises that I really can't quite do yet, but it's fun to try, 20% of those. And the other 80% is the progressions that I can do with good form, build up that muscular endurance, build up some strength, and that's the majority of my workouts. So you'll see me with my resistance bands all day, every day. Me and my tuck lever club over here hanging out. You can join too. You can join the tuck lever club. job. We're accepting of everyone. Okay, my next tip is to choose only 2 skills at a time to really work on. I think for me, when I started calisthenics, it was so exciting to be like, yeah, I want to take on all of these different calisthenics skills. I want to try and learn the handstand push-up, and I want to try and learn the one-arm handstand. I want to try and learn the front lever and the stalder press and weighted dips. I want to do everything. It all looks really cool. But if you try and train everything, you don't actually make progress in any area super fast. So if you're interested in training for specific calisthenic skills, I would recommend training for a specific 1 to 2 skills at a time so you can really develop the specific strength that you need while not overtaxing your body, kind of like the mistake I made. I was trying to do handstands and planches and front lever skills. By the way, guys, I say front lever, I mean like the tuck lever, tuck planche. So like we're not there yet, but we're training for them. So training for 3 skills at once, too much for me. It's a little bit too much. Choose your 1 to 2 favorite skills and rotate through them as you build up skills. Okay, I also want to chat a little bit about handstands specifically. So if you've been following me, you know I've made a few videos on handstands. Your girl loves handstands. There's something about being upside down that's just so joyful for me. I don't know. But I want to give all my tips to you right now. So 1, activation exercises before you do your handstands. So you should be doing a full body warm up. You should also be doing a handstand specific warm up, which is basically just warming up your shoulders, your wrists, your upper body. Warm it up nice and good, specifically the shoulders. We don't want any shoulder injuries here. And then once you've done your warm ups, then you do your handstand specific activation exercises, which prime the muscles that you need in order to maintain good handstand form. So I specifically target my shoulders and my lower back and pelvis, which is basically your hip and lumbar spine region. And check out my other videos if you're interested in more tips on the form, but specifically, you wanna be able to activate your spine in a way that it's not arched, but it's the opposite. It's very flat and in that posterior pelvic tilt position. And that really helps you stay in a hollow hold position, which helps you maintain and control your handstand much better. So I started doing activation exercises to prime my body and prep to be in that position. So one that is my go-to, especially for the posterior pelvic tilt, is hollow holds. Honestly, if you are working on your handstand right now and you have the strength to hold it, and what you're really struggling with is just balance, try these activation exercises if you do hollow holds. And if you prep your shoulders to be in the correct position, you're probably gonna be able to hold your handstand for much longer than if you don't do these activation exercises. Highly recommend. And tip number 2 for handstands, this might be a personal thing, but what I found works really well for me is training handstands in the morning or early afternoon. I cannot do handstands in the evening. The 3 times, all of 3 whole times, that I try, it just doesn't work. And there's probably a few reasons. 1, I'm tired after my day. Your girl works all day. I get home and I don't have the energy or focus to hold myself with correct form upside down on my hands. It doesn't work for me. And also, I like to eat. And naturally, it's gonna be a little bit harder to hold a handstand if you have a lot of food in your stomach. Pros, cons, just saying. I'm just keeping it real, you know? If I do handstands after breakfast, it's a little bit different than if I do handstands after breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm just saying. So handstands in the mornings works way better for me. Just some tips to try out for you. All right, next tip, let's chat. This is a little bit controversial, but let's chat leg days. So I'm a hybrid calisthenics girly. I use calisthenics for my upper body, lower body, core, bit of everything, but I specifically train my legs with weights. And that's because, and if you're a lady, you probably get me. Ladies, we're here for the booty, okay? I'm here for the glute aesthetic. I'm here for it. I don't make the rules, I just speak the truth. So, and you gotta know, guys, bodyweight squats are not gonna do anything for your booty, okay? To an extent, they will. If you've never done leg day ever before in your life and you're doing bodyweight squats, go you, I'm here for that. That's amazing. If you're generally a trained individual, you're not growing the glutes with the bodyweight squats. I'm so sorry to tell you. You gotta add weight on that. We gotta hit the squat rack, the hip thrust machine. And what my tips are for leg days, since I'm talking about the things I learned when I started calisthenics, is don't neglect your leg days. I see a lot in the calisthenics community like, skip leg days, you don't need any leg. We do need legs. We want a strong, well-rounded whole body. It's okay if you don't want to do weights for your legs. It's totally fine. But don't neglect your leg exercises for calisthenics. I actually made videos for calisthenics beginner and intermediate leg exercises. I'll link them below. Check them out if you're curious or if you want to know where to start with some leg exercises. Just don't neglect them completely. Please do that for me. Now let's chat equipment that you need to start calisthenics. And honestly, you don't need much. That's one big reason that a lot of people want to train calisthenics. It's body weight. You don't need a whole gym to go work out. But I do think that there are 2 essential-ish equipments. One is some sort of bar for your pull-ups, your chin-ups, your inverted and Australian rows, and a dip bar for your dips. You honestly don't need much, but I would highly recommend that if you're a beginner, that you grab some good resistance bands. Let me grab mine. Oh, please. Okay, guys. So these bands saved my life, guys. You know how I was talking about ego lifting before? When I started my calisthenics journey, I could do at least 5 pull-ups. But if you can't do at least 5 pull-ups, which is totally fine because we're all working on it like continuously, get yourself some amazing resistance bands, because the way that I actually did get my pull-up form, I used resistance bands. These I got on Amazon. They're super cheap. They were less than 20 bucks. I've got a heavy band, a medium band, and a light band. And I use all of them for different things. I also have the little ones, but I would really recommend the long ones. You can get away without the short ones, but the long ones, in my opinion, essential. Now, the reason I'd recommend resistance bands is they can make any exercise harder or easier. I usually use them to make them easier because a lot of body weight exercises are harder than the gym counterparts. But when I started, I used the resistance bands for my pull-ups. I still do now, but now I use them for other things like my tuck launch progressions, my stalder press handstand workouts. I use them to warm up my shoulders. They're super versatile and super usable. You definitely can get away in calisthenics without them, but they make my life so much easier. I would recommend investing the 20 bucks. Because what you want to do as a beginner first is build up the muscle before you try the strength, kind of like I touched on earlier. Okay, wrapping it up here, but another tip that I have is a recent exercise that I absolutely positively love, and these are dead hangs. Dead hangs are basically when you hold yourself from a bar and you hang. You just hang, you hold on, and you don't fall to the ground. And these are amazing for your grip strength, your back, your core. They're just amazing. If you can build up that grip strength enough where you can hang on with just one hand, one arm dead hangs, your pull-ups get easier, your chin-ups get easier. Any pull exercise really gets easier. You become an incredible rock climber and you didn't even know it. They're actually really challenging, but if you just throw in a few rounds of dead hangs at the end or in the middle of a session, you're gonna be incredible by the end of the year. But yeah, oh my god, your grip strength, amazing with those. Okay, I wanna finish up this video with some honest truth and my advice for you guys. It's been 8 months since I've started. Being really honest, I feel way stronger. I've developed muscles that I didn't know existed in my body, and I've definitely made progress on my goals, but I haven't seen any life-shattering, crazy changes. And I just want to say this because change takes time, and calisthenics training is a continuous journey. It's a long-term thing, so just don't get discouraged if you don't see any crazy results in like 2 weeks or even 2 months. It takes time to build up that muscle, and what really matters is that you're feeling good and you're slowly making progress on those goals, and that you stay happy and motivated, because your health and happiness is really all that matters. So thank you so much, by the way, if you got all the way to the end of the video. You guys are the best. And if you enjoyed, give me the thumbs up and hit subscribe to hang out with me more. I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, love you, bye.